Welcome back, guys, to Kerbal Space Explosion. Last time, we spent some time hopping around in the biomes of Minmus. Today, we are chasing the sun. It's trying to set, but we're not gonna let it. Lanbus Carmen, are you ready? Well, too bad. Even if you're not, we're blasting off anyway. So, this is gonna be like, I guess you could say, version 2 of my Sun Diver rocket. We did that a few episodes ago. I think, was it the last thing I did before resetting my save file? I think it was. And we managed to fire directly towards the sun, more or less, and fell into it and died. This time, I want to get into an actual stable, circularized orbit, as close as we can get with this rocket. And there goes some of our tanks. We have, I did a quick estimate. I think we have like 55 or 56 orange tanks on this rocket, something to that effect. There are uh-oh, and this tends to happen sometimes. The physics of the game, it's a little bit too much. Lanbus, I'm sorry, Lanbus. I know that this rocket can be successful, but sometimes the physics freaks out because of all the stresses on the system. Let's try that again. Alright, let's see if we can get out of the atmosphere successfully this time. This ship is so big that the fuel lines don't actually reach between the tanks on the outer stage here. So I had to do like a little quick wiring, a little hot wiring, and I put this little extension fuel tank here so that we can have a fuel tank go to it and then over here to the next guy. We are using, I don't know, something like 18 tanks just to get out of like the bottom 3,000 or 4,000 meters of the atmosphere. That's a lot of orange tanks to use, but hopefully it will be worth it. I did a number of testing on this rocket, and what I found is that the more fuel tanks do actually get you further than just having less fuel tanks. So I could actually get farther with these. It's not just about adding more and more things. Actually, it's partly about that. Here's a cool looking configuration. Kind of looks like a starfighter of some kind, like there should be lasers firing out of there. Please don't hit anything else when you fly off of there. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And I used some of these big wings because I thought they looked neat. And for the scale of the rocket, I think it was kind of appropriate. Now, similar to the Sun Diver episode, we are firing at sundown because we need to escape Kerbal. And to do that, you want to, and if we want to go in system, and we do, we want to go towards the sun, you want to go, basically you're slowing down your overall orbit around the sun, or Kerbal. So we want to go that way. That's the way we are firing. Let's not miss our next stage. Once we get down to this inner ring, after we stage 3 or 4 more times, it's gonna start to get a little bit unstable, and I'll have to wrestle with it a little bit until we get down to just the 2 or 3 at the bottom, and then it'll even out again. It'll start to spin. At least it has in my tests. I've only really tested this until the point where we get out of the atmosphere, or rather until we finish up all the orange tanks. How close to the sun we'll be able to get, I'm not exactly sure. So after we jettison all of these orange tanks, we're going to have 3 nuclear engines, which are sort of here in the middle. Let's spin around so you can see it in the daylight. And the shape of that ship will make more sense once we get a bit higher. I've sort of timed things so that by keeping at this level of thrust, here it goes, it's starting to spin, we hit 200 meters per second, right at about 10,000 meters, which is where you want to go, or where you want to be, given the terminal velocity of the atmosphere. Okay, now I need to start wrestling with it a little bit. This is a lot heavier than the Sun Diver thing I made because when I sent that thing to the sun, all it was this... Oh, dang it. That happens every now and then, I swear. This rocket does work sometimes. Darn it. Alright, from this point out, I think we may be safe and we're out of the atmosphere, so let's throttle up to full. Let's get some thrust going up in here. The physics system is unlikely to freak out. We've got some overheating concerns coming, but I think we'll be all right. Let's look at our trajectory. We're still... haven't even gotten our trajectory up to where we're going to bang into the moon's orbit. But we will get there. We're going to start accelerating quickly. And this is the point where it gets a little bit spinny. It starts to want to spin. It's the weight distribution on top is a little bit differently arrayed than the weight distribution on the bottom. And at this point, now it's got some it's symmetrical again in 3-point axis, or 3-way symmetry or whatever. But it's still spinning from that last one, and it takes a minute to slow down. And then as soon as it gets slow, okay, there, we've got it to stop. And we drop this one. Now we've got these guys, and it's asymmetrical again. Even though it kind of looks symmetrical, it's not. So it may start spinning. And our trajectory is going to start increasing rapidly. And really, all I'm waiting for at this point of the mission is to escape from Kerbal. There it's spinning. I barely touched it, and it starts to spin like a maniac. Drop those. And now it should be a little bit better. Let's get back on center, yeah. And once we drop those two, it'll be symmetrical again. We won't have any more problems with that. Stop spinning. Oh my gosh. I'm having some issues here. And here it goes. Okay, stop. Cut the engines. There. All right, we have escaped from Kerbal. That's all I wanted for this phase. And we have an apoapsis of 13 billion kilometers and a periapsis of 12 billion. Last time, we only lowered the periapsis down to here, and we crashed into the sun. This time, I want to circularize it, which is going to take way more fuel. Now, I don't know that it makes a difference in terms of fuel efficiency, whether I burn retrograde from the apoapsis, the periapsis, or any point in between, because we have to bring them both down. But I think what we'll do, I'm going to time warp. This is probably totally unnecessary, but I'm going to time warp all the way around, because we're going this way. I'm going to time warp all the way around until we get to the apoapsis. Then we're going to bring the periapsis down when I'm right there. Probably not necessary. Now look how much fuel we have left. That is pretty good. We still have all of this thrust. Then we're going to be using these nuclear engines, and all this fuel is just for the nuclear engine. It's going to be very efficient. All right, say goodbye, Kerbal. Landbus, say goodbye. Oh, we also have a... this thing is very heavy, and we're bringing it along. The Mobile Processing Lab. Greglock and Milbus Kerman, say goodbye to your planet. You'll never see it again. At least I don't think so. There it goes. Let's see. There's the moon. Watch it start to spin around as we speed up. Zoop. And we'll speed up again. And there it's whizzing around. Oh! And there is Minmus. Probably very hard to see on YouTube, but there it was. And now we're speeding around the sun. And we're going to go, let's go all the way up to 100,000 times speed. So once we get done with the mainsail engines, we're going to be down to these 3 nuclear engines. And they're very efficient. They have a specific impulse of 800. It says 0 right now because we're not using them, I think. But they have a specific impulse of 800 in the vacuum of space, whereas the mainsails, although they're very powerful, they have a specific impulse of 330. Not very good, not very efficient. Look at this, we're already zooming right around. But what that also means is it's going to take forever to burn through this fuel and to get anything of significance accomplished. So what I'm going to do, we will burn the rest of the mainsails on camera, and we'll transition to the nuclear engines, and then I'll probably just cut until we do something significant, and I'll give you some updates until we start to get closer. And the idea, well, the main idea is to get a station in space. That's called a station. Oh, crap, we went right by it. All right, whatever. Whoops. Dang it. Whatever. This, the fact that we're going to be burning retrograde here That is actually going to become the apoapsis in a second. I really didn't need to burn all the way, or to travel all the way around our orbit like that. Big waste of 97 days, but oh well. Okay, guys, get back up here. This thing rotates very slowly. I didn't add any RCS because I was trying to save on weight as much as possible. Well, except for all the solar panels we're not going to need, but will look pretty. Aside from that. I tried to save his weight as much as possible, and we won't need it once we actually get there. Okay, here we go. Yeah, and the apoapsis adjusts to where we are. So that was totally unnecessary. We could have just burned from where we were, and our position would have become the apoapsis by default. Whoops, whatever, who cares? I'm sure it didn't bother these guys. They had to spend an extra 100 days doing nothing in space. They probably had fun. Okay, we're gonna lose a few more tanks right here. There we go. There goes those guys. And we have one left, and it'll last a little bit. And I try to keep this thing rotated so that this gimbal here, little nav ball, is on a 90 degrees, but it's hard to keep straight like that for some reason. Maybe because of my ship. Yeah, it seems to want to turn around a little more, even with the SAS on. So already, our periapsis is down to 8... Is that billion? Yeah, 8 billion meters. We're inside the orbit of Eve. We're going to have to bring down both, though. It's going to take a lot of fuel, and that's why I added these extra fuel tanks on the end, so we can get even more use out of the nuclear engines. And there's decouplers there, so they will fall off once they're empty. Look at that, all the way down to 7. Sweet. All right, and then we'll get rid of these, and we will transition to the nuclear engines. There we go, and look at that thrust. Barely pushing away that tank. Well, we're pushing away from it. It's not, well, whatever. You know what I mean. So there we go. We're going to be burning this guy for a long time. There are fuel lines running from the orange tank into these little guys, which the nuclear engines are attached to. And then there's fuel lines running from these outer guys into the orange tank. So it's cycling through. And you can see 1420, 1419, 1418. It's counting down very slow. And I'm going to have to sit here and wait for the tank to empty. And I'm not going to subject you to that torture. So I think what I'll do, because I don't know exactly how low we're going to be able to get this orbit. I'm going to get it down to inside the orbit of Moho. Then we'll move around to the periapsis in here somewhere, and we'll try to bring down the apoapsis. And I'll give you an update once we've done something a little more significant, maybe once we drop these tanks. Outer tanks, almost empty. Prepare to jettison in 5, 4, 3, slow countdown, 2, 1, and let them go. Please don't hit my engines and blow them up. Oh my gosh, look at them spin. Wow, you really get a lot of torque with the separatrons on those smaller rockets. Okay, they just keep going. Look at that. We are 3 billion kilometers. Wait, no, 3 billion meters away from the sun. 3 billion meters, right. Or you know, just under. 40 meters, 40,000 meters under, whatever, 3 billion, close enough. And our apoapsis is down to about 6 billion meters, and we are about to be entirely within the orbit of Moho, which is pretty good. This takes way more energy than if you just want to crash into the sun. Circularizing your orbit takes so much fuel. And we have a full orange tank left, and hopefully we'll be able to circularize it. I think we will, with the speed this is coming down. It's got to come down from 6 billion, 3 billion. Anyway, this is slow as molasses. Those are ticking down at about a little faster than 1 unit a second. So we've got 2,700 of those to tick down, and I will give you another update when we run out of fuel. All right, I think that's about as close as we're gonna get. We have a tiny amount of fuel left, and each of these little guys has 6.65 liquid fuel and the equivalent amount of oxidizer left over. We got pretty close. I would have liked to get super close, but I think this is pretty good. We didn't do any gravity assists at all, which probably would have helped, but it would have complicated things, and I wanted to try doing it without it first. Maybe in a future mission we'll try to get closer. 2.1 million, no, 2.1 billion meters, 2.1 billion meters. And next time, if I do decide to put a super close station in orbit around that star, we won't have to lug this guy around. The mobile processing lab. Okay, so let's do some science. And first to do so, let's turn towards the sun and let's unveil our energy recycling system. Our solar array is about to be operational. Yeah, look at that. We look like a flower that's lost its stem. Maybe if I had a more of the fuel tanks along the end there, it'd look like a proper flower. Okay, now just point that way. It's too bad that you can't get it to auto-rotate to always face the sun. So that any time I come back to this place, it will be facing it. Look at that. That's way more solar panels than you would need, by the way. Oh, look at that. So this one right here is blocked from seeing the sun, and it's not rotating properly because it can't really tell where it's supposed to be going, I think. The other ones seem to be rotated right. Maybe that one's broken, or maybe it's just blocked. It's probably just blocked. All right, so let's do some science. We have the mobile processing lab, so first thing I want to do is these Science Juniors. They are attached to the orange tank, and we get plus 10 processing value, plus 10%. Okay, analyzing. Let's go ahead and get this guy going as well. We have 2 of them, and should be able to reuse them once they're finished. Oh, okay, the high radiation environment caused a few of the samples to glow. It looks like it would be fun to paint the rocks with this. I think we've seen this before. So we're gonna get 82 science for sending this. This empty bar, the gray here, is the total amount we can still get. So we're gonna do it multiple times. It says inoperable after, wait a second. It says, yeah, inoperable after transmitting, but it shouldn't be. We should be able to do it repeatedly because we processed it. Let's just keep it for a second. That says the same. We should be able to do it multiple times because we use this guy. Process, oh, maybe we have to do this. Process lab data. Reset, keep, transmit. It says inoperable after transmitting. I thought you could reset it because I have this processing lab. I thought that was the point. Data removed, experiment module. Well, I guess I was incorrect about something. Now, did we send both? Let's see what this says. Let's click on our little lab here. Clean experiments. Maybe that's what resets it. Okay, let's try cleaning. Oh, cleaning the Science Junior. All right, so that's what we have to do to be able to reuse the science. So let's let those guys clean and then use them again and see what the little bar looks like. See if we can tell how much we have left to do. Both done. Excellent. Open or observe materials bay again. Ooh, transmit 0. But we still have a lot left to do for the recovery. See how this, we have like part of the green and then the darker green behind. Seems like we can't transmit multiple times even though we brought this science lab way into space. Okay. We're not going to get any for transmitting, and it's definitely not going back to Kerbin. I did put parachutes and a decoupler on the end here, just because who knows. Maybe more out of habit than anything. Observe mystery goo. Inoperable after transmitting, okay. Complete. All right. Keep that for a second. And we have another one over here. We got 2 of them. I didn't put very many on here to try and save weight because I thought by bringing the processing lab, would be able to do it repeatedly, but I guess that's a limitation. I guess that's a limitation of the science system now, and not just the mobile processing lab. Transmit reusable ones. Okay. And I'm sort of wondering what the point is of lugging this guy out here if it doesn't let you resend. It lets you reset them. Maybe if you're going to multiple biomes, I could see that being worthwhile. Because then you could get that bonus from each one. So if you could manage to put this on a lander, even though it's so heavy, maybe. Let's see. Process lab data. All right, just transmit it. Transmit it. Data removed. Experiment module inoperative. Another 50 science, and then only 6.7 on the second one. Okay, so that was an extreme nerf. Clean experiments. Let's see what happens after we do that. Okay, complete. Now, if we click Observe Mystery Goo, 0. All right, so you get the 15% transmit value, and that's about it. Kind of a ripoff, but I guess that's okay. Okay, reset. So we are out of fuel. We have a tiny amount left, not enough to do anything meaningful. And I'd kind of like to stay at as an even number as possible, so 2.1 is good enough. So let's get rid of this orange tank and our nuclear engines and the science juniors. There we go. And now we are truly a flower cast adrift from our stem. Okay, so we've done Science Juniors, and we've done those guys. The Mystery Goo. Let's see, where are the other ones? It's a little hard to see because of the way we're facing the sun. Okay, here we go. Log seismic data. Oh, you can't do that unless you're setting down somewhere, but I did add the gravioli detectors. Log that. 88. Okay, and then log gravity data over here. Plus 20%. So we're not going to get a huge amount of science here, which is okay. There's plenty of places left to get lots of science. I can definitely fill out the tree with only going a few more places. I was kind of hoping to get a little bit more than this, though. The transmitting value of science has really been nerfed, and I think rightly so. But I'm not so sure about the role of the processing lab. Oh! You know what I just thought of? There's two guys in that processing lab, and not only are they stranded out in space, I wasn't even thinking about that. Not only are they stranded out in space, they don't even get to stay in this pretty module. Here, tell you what. What can we do? Can we attach them to the ladder? Yeah, okay. Let's perform a minor sort of semi... Oh no, I'm getting confused here. They're in here, not in the orange tank. It looked white from this angle, and for some reason I thought we had ejected the processing lab, but it's right there. My brain is gone. It's fried in the solar radiation there. And now we only have 200 electric charge, but who cares? We have the sun as our battery. Okay, are they done yet? Transmission value increased to 60%. Okay. Transmit data. Anything else? We still have some left. We still have the crew report to do. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to get the full value from one transmission. Go ahead and transmit. And I don't think you can increase that in the lab because there's nothing to process. It's just a report. All right. There we go. Crew report, if we do it again, you get nothing. All right, so that's that. We've done Mystery Goo. Science Junior has bid us farewell. The gravity data, can't get anything more from transmitting. I think the only thing left to do is an EVA. We didn't get to do this last time. Ooh, look at that shot. Whoops, no, get out of here. Close. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah. All right. Do a little fly around, how about? Don't go too far, though, buddy. Let's go down some. There's our fuel tank. We could go fly around it. We could do a loop-de-loop if we wanted. Whee! Look at him. Oh, he's having a blast. He's having a blast. Okay, EVA report. Oh, I turned the UI off. EVA reports. Oh, while in space high over the sun. You're feeling kind of small right now. Transmit value 0. I must already have this one. We're high over the sun. There's another one, I believe, for getting lower over the sun or close to the surface, or maybe it just reads over the sun instead of high over the sun. And we didn't get close enough to get that one. I kind of hoped we would. Apparently 2 billion meters isn't close enough for that. Well, dang it. That's fine. It's fine. We didn't really come out here for science. We came out here to have fun and get as close to the sun as I could with a single launch. We can go say hello to the fuel tank. Hey, guy. Thanks for bringing us out here. Slow as molasses. Took forever. I watched like an hour's worth of TV while that was happening. At least that much. There's that. Ooh, and look at that. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's get back in. And we are obviously going to leave Lanbus and his 2 friends in the science lab. We're going to leave them here. There's no way for them to get back. We're going to leave them here, and we will go back to Kerbin and check the tech tree and see if... Whoa! See if there is anything... Oops, that's the wrong one. See if we can buy anything on the tech tree. Dang it! Oh, I should have retracted them. Look at what I just did. Oh, you ruined it. I'm tempted to quick load, but I won't. Okay, so let's get in here and go back to the... let's go back to the tech tree. Well, we ended up with 349 science. Not a huge amount, but enough to unlock a few things. I guess we'll go ahead and get some of these jet plane parts. And I cannot now afford this tier. Maybe I should have got these docking clamps. Oops. Well, whatever. We will get some more science in a future mission, and we'll unlock everything, more or less. And let's go ahead and unlock that. And that takes care of the first 4 tiers, and the 5th tier is almost done. Okay, well that wraps it up for this episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you next time. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.